Hey, how's it going? Adrienne Elise here. I just wanted to pop in and talk to you about what's going on in the stars and the planets. So it's an incredibly strange time, and what's happening, what seems to be happening, is this massive karmic purge, meaning like we're being wrung out by the universe of all of the stories, programming, and belief systems that are no longer serving us. And that feels intense. And that is what's going on with this eclipse cycle. We just had the second of 3 eclipses, and now we're at the second of 3 Mars square Uranus aspects. So because of this Mars retrograde, where it apparently goes backwards, it's having 3 passes over this square with Uranus. Now squares have tension to them, and with Mars retrograde, Mars represents the physical body. It represents action. It represents the male part of ourselves, the warrior part of ourselves. And so in retrograde, Mars is feeling a little inactive, right? Mars is feeling impotent. Mars is feeling like it doesn't really have the get up and go. And then, of course, now that we have Mercury retrograde at the same time, that energy is even compounded. So Mars, Mercury, and Saturn are our main action planets, and they're all in retrograde right now. So it is not a time to make big decisions or leap forward with big activities. And but it's really interesting. So the physical world is kind of like suspended, right? And we've been having since Mars began to go retrograde. And yet what is really happening energetically in the invisible side of things is a whole bunch of stuff. And that's what's so interesting about this Mars square Uranus, because Mars is this physical world. It's manifestation, really. It's coming into form. It rules Aries, which is the beginning of life, this impulse that brings things into form. And it rules our physical body as well, Mars. But then Uranus is like our electric body, right? Like Uranus is our future self, our higher self, this other part of ourselves that's invisible. And it's in this world that we live in, we tend to focus, and all the programming and everything is around keeping us very much distracted and consumed with the physical world. But there is so much more than what we see, and we know this, but we forget. And it's like a really good time right now to remember this, and Uranus is helping us with this. So it's like there's this lower will, like Mars is like the raw will and action, and let's do something. And then Uranus is like our higher will, our higher self that we can't really access, and we don't really know what that is. But these coming together, even though it's a square and there's tension there, there's also a lot of magic. It's like we are being aligned. The worlds are being aligned, where it's like the physical world hasn't been representing what's really going on energetically on this planet for quite some time. And so what's happening now is this massive purge energetically in this bigger part, the invisible part of ourselves, the part of ourselves that holds energies and belief systems and patterns in our subconscious from the past and from programming. And so this stuff is coming up. And I don't know anybody right now that is not having their stuff come up everywhere around them. And it's like sprouting a big weed garden. But, you know, it's like then once the weeds are sprouted, we can actually go and get them and pull them out. And that's what this time is really about. So it's really intense. We're having this massive squeeze and all these eclipses and all this potent energy of trying to change, but our physical world isn't ready to change, but the energetic world is changing. And it's like what's really going on in this big recalibration that is 2018 is that it's now time for our physical world, our actual 3D reality to reflect the energetic and spiritual changes that have been happening behind the scenes in our psyche, in our collective consciousness, and energetically on the planet. And so that is quite a shift. And that's why this Mars retrograde is actually a gift, because it's like it's pulling us out of time so that we can re-enter into a more appropriate timeline to really land and ground and become more whole and complete. So many people are living a fragmented existence, stuck in the past, parts of themselves stuck in the past and trying to integrate and can't function in right now, in the here and now. And that's what's really going on, is this massive recalibration. But what it looks like esoterically is like a huge purge, like a huge, like literally like the universe, the collective consciousness is puking out a whole bunch of stuff that it doesn't want anymore. You know, it's like our whole realm is just like, and this has to do with the fact that Jupiter has, you know, now is going direct, and it's gaining momentum and kind of moving along really quick back through these degrees it's already been through in Scorpio. And so that is bringing this purge to the surface of this, of the shadow energy, of the hidden, of the mysteries, of the power of our own power used against us, and an opportunity to claim our own true raw power and experience of the present and the now in a deep experience of life, which is that Scorpio energy. So it's like we're feeling this massive purge, but the cool thing is like 2018 doesn't have a lot of, it has all of this really intense stuff going on with the eclipses and these retrogrades and these squares, like with this Uranus square Mars. But we are also having these very harmonious aspects of trines and sextiles. And we have 3 major ones, and they're all coming into play right now. And so along with this Mars squaring up with Uranus, which is, you know, pay attention here, because Uranus is that higher self, it's that future self, it's that higher information, it's that part of you, you know, that you can't integrate from the future, you know. And then we've got all of this energy around what we haven't been able to release from the past, and it's all coming up right now as the moon and the sun are near the nodes, as well as Mercury and Mars playing around in this area, both retrograde. But Uranus rules unexpected and things, and also synchronistic things and information and things kind of lining up. You know, it's like, it's that part of ourselves that does know and does see the bigger picture, and it's kind of like infiltrating through in little pieces. And sometimes this can be shocking. Okay, because there's a lot of things going on when people are like, oh no, this thing is coming and this really huge, and oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And that ends up working out okay. And so that's kind of where we are right now with all this retrograde energy. We got to find a way to work around it. And the universe right now, with all this other stuff going on, though, is shining the light of love. We've got the sun in Leo, we've got the north node of the moon completing very powerful energy in Leo as it completes its cycle in Leo. And we also have Mercury retrograde in Leo. And so Mercury Leo rules the heart, and it's about universal love and coming into a place of connecting with the part of ourselves that's like the sun that shines equally on everyone, the part of us that is the sun, the part of us that's created from the love of the cosmos. What is the energy that creates worlds, that makes all of this happen? It's love. And so as these incredibly intense karmic situations come up, because they're blooming, so we can find them, so we can purge them, it's not easy. And I know it's kind of annoying when people say, oh, you just need to love and forgive, right? You know, and isn't that easy, right? And it's not easy. But the universe is helping us right now. And if you can tap into this energy of the heart chakra, because the truth is, and like we've been shown in this massive duality consciousness, the whole point of it, from the bigger perspective of all this intensity and all this separation and all this division and violence and all this energy, it's really here to show us that we are the other person. The other person is us. And so it's like, can we find some little tiny part of ourselves that knows that whatever that person is acting out for us, we have asked them to do this on another level. And it's not easy, but it's like there is a huge influx of love energies right now with this Leo energy to just bust through and kind of come to a higher place, throw some love on the situation and be like, whoa, I can see from their point of view. And I've played this out. I've played something like this out for somebody else, and this person's playing it out for me. And it really sucks and it really hurts. And how can it be like this? But at the same time, it's like maybe that higher part of me has asked for this experience so that I can release this karma. I've got to find it to release it. I've got to have it be exposed. And so it's like, there's this part of ourselves that can see the point of view of the other person and realize we've been in their shoes too. And maybe that was in another lifetime where we switched roles and now this karma is playing out. And when we can do this, when we can throw love at it and understand that we're all players in a play, it's like a hologram and we're creating these experiences for spiritual growth. We're not here just because we want to suffer and go through this crazy earth experience. No, we're here because we're trying to evolve. And so when you can find that moment of that center, that coming into the now and being like, okay, there's got to be a higher purpose to this stuff. There's got to be a bigger reason. And it's like, thank God these things are happening so that I can be free. And thank you so much for being my frenemy and showing me how I can be free from this and how I can love you in your process and what you need to go through. And wherever you're at on your spectrum of growth, I can have compassion for that. It doesn't mean we're being doormats. Boundaries are a powerful thing in healing and standing up for the way we deserve to be treated. But at the same time, we can tap into this lightning, innovative information, perspective, epiphany energy. That's the energy right now, is this epiphany energy. You see this bigger picture and be like, oh, whoa, like what part of me is complicit in this trauma and drama? And as an opportunity for me to break free of it for good. That's what's really being presented to us. And so right now we're having these aspects happening. So what's starting now is with Jupiter coming out of retrograde, it's coming back in, or now direct, it's coming back into this trine with Neptune. And Jupiter expands. And of course, in Scorpio, it wants to expand the light and shine the light on the shadow and clear up the closets, right? Clear up the skeletons in the closets. But it's in this beautiful trine with Neptune. That's our spiritual connection. It's that feeling of oneness. It's the feeling of like, oh, we're part of this. We can tap in. The Neptune energy can help us tap into that greater, bigger energy of love in the universe. And when you have trines with Neptune, harmonious energies, it's like the cup, of the, like being receiving the blessings are just like shining down. So you've got this heart love activation with all this Leo energy. Leos have an ability to they have a very big love for, and they have a very ability to just give, out their energy. And I have to say that part of this North Node in Leo, part of the information coming forward is that like, there's a lot of people in this world very, very depressed and very hopeless and very much like cannot get outside of within. And you know what that is? That's all the love they have inside that they can't get out and give to the world. It's their gifts, it's their abilities, it's their beauty, it's their magic, and it's all bottled up inside because this world doesn't support that. And of course, then we have to love ourselves first. Our heart chakra activation has to be towards ourselves, and love and forgive ourselves first. You cannot forgive anybody else. This love, this cosmic heart activation is open up to the love, the cosmic love of the universe for you. Like the sun shines on everyone equally. And that's how Leos are too. They have this big heart, this big love. And so the depression, the systemic esoteric depression, especially like in starseeds and indigo souls, are is coming from the gifts of love that are trapped inside and not able to come out into the world. And that's what this North Node in Leo is kind of prodding and poking us, come on, like open up, shine your light, bring your gifts. Who cares if for, multiple lifetimes you've been killed for it? Who cares if you've been persecuted and locked up and whatever's happened to you that makes you feel like the people, villainized perhaps. And so the people around you don't want your gifts and your love, but the universe, Mother Earth does, and there are resonant frequencies. Of course we do. This is the key to everything of this North Node in Leo. The message of it is, it's just like, get that, all that stuck energy inside of you and start to give to yourself first, and recognize that you're valued and you're loved in this universe, in the bigger picture, and just crack open that heart shell, that wall, that broken down big metal box, that's been kind of programmed around all of our hearts. That's part of the Earth agenda, and just break free of that and just start loving. And what a great place to be challenged when you're having these karmic situations come up where it seems the most impossible thing to love, and how do you have a boundary and protect yourself and also love the other person who's actually trying to hurt you. But that's the most optimal situation, actually, to break free and find some love and just, like, love yourself, honor yourself, put that boundary, and then throw some love on the situation. This is a bonfire of love happening in the universe right now. So we've got that Jupiter trying up with Neptune, the blessings, cosmic blessings, just raining down with us. And then we also are moving in. We're moving into this for the whole month of August. We're going to be feeling this Saturn trying up with Uranus. So Uranus is in this intense square with Mars, and Mars is like trying to figure out the new game of the Aquarian age, and it's like weapons and war, and that negative side of the Mars warrior and the male aspect is like, it's just not working anymore, and so Mars needs a new game, and that's what Mars is figuring out. So there's that tension there, between the physical world and the energetic reality is really what's going on. And how do we move into this Aquarian age? But then we've got Uranus in a beautiful trine with Saturn, and they're in earth signs. And so we've had this Saturn trine Uranus over the last couple of years, but they were in fire signs. So very much a fire transformational activation. Now it's time to bring that fire to the physical world, to the earth, to a manifested form. And so there is a magical opportunities happening for manifestation of magic into the 3D reality. This means your dreams and hopes are wanting to land. And so this is beautiful energy. It's about building the new, and there's also unexpected divine manifestations popping up. So it's like, pay attention, be open. Part of the loving yourself, forgiving yourself, and opening your heart and using the cosmic energies right now and being a part of this cosmic heart activation. Part of the beauty of that is knowing that you deserve these good things, being open to the new life that wants to land for you, that the situations and the people and the structures that can support you, and giving out that love that you have inside of you to the universe. And so that's what the Saturn trine Uranus is. And again, Uranus is so activated right now. It's the ruler of Aquarius, and we've got Mars just hanging out in Aquarius for 3 months, and then we've got Saturn or Uranus in that square with Mars, the ruler of Aquarius, and then we've got Uranus activated by Saturn. And so it's like this kind of crazy Uranian energy is just going on, and it's like we can't really do anything, but there's a lot of actual Uranus can affect your nervous system. It can make you feel kind of anxious and stuff. That also has to do with these old karmic patterns coming up, and it's like we go into a place of resistance because we're like, oh no, not again, not again, like I can't go back to this trauma. But it's like we've got to go get the trauma by the roots and just pull it out. And that's what this Jupiter in Scorpio is giving us. And so it's so beautiful that we're having all this kind of intensity, but it's also harmonized, and the universe is just shining the cosmic rays of light and love, and reminding us who we really are, and reminding us the bigger point of why we're dealing with all of this. And so now this is just starting to come back, is what we felt early in the year was this Jupiter sextile Pluto. So these are the 3 beautiful harmonious aspects of this year, is this Jupiter trine Neptune, Saturn trine Uranus, and then Jupiter sextile Pluto. So Jupiter's coming back into this sextile with Pluto, and they're still a little bit out of, but it's heading in back into the sextile, and that's about creative solutions to change the structures of this world and to face the shadow and heal and love and overcome. And so just know that the intensity, it's like the darkest dark and the lightest light right now. And that intensity that's coming up in your life is trying to break open the illusions and delusions of the programming of that heart wall, of that cage, of that thick. I'm just seeing this picture of this like metal box that's been like welded and re-welded with all the traumas we've experienced around our heart, you know. And it's like the light is trying to, the laser kind of precision of this Mars square Uranus. It's exact for this week, for the next 5 days, pretty much 4 or 5 days. And it's like, it's just beaming through that, you know, through that thick metal box around our heart and like just cracking it open. And sometimes that feels like intense grief and intense sadness, all the things we haven't wanted to feel, and heartbreak, but it's really heart opening and heartbreaking open. And so just kind of know that this is the energy right now, and that it's such a beautiful picture because that laser type energy just that can like cut through the hard metal that's been like kind of built up and refortified over traumatic experiences over lifetimes. That laser is just kind of cutting right through that. And that's the energy of Uranus right now. It's kind of beaming into our reality, being like, hey, you guys, this is a hologram. Like, you don't get so attached to what's happening. We are so programmed to think that we die with our physical bodies. And this is just one experience of just multitudes of experiences we have. And we don't actually really die. And our soul, spirit, and our energy lives on forever. And we are part of this greater cosmic, crazy, beautiful experiment and experience. And just keep in mind the bigger picture when you get stuck back into the box. And remember that the truth of the energetic frequencies are actually way more powerful than anything in this physical world. Okay? And so whatever we're experiencing right now is actually a reflection of the energetic things that are trying to happen. And that's about the new timelines landing and the new Earth landing and new possibilities for humanity, and to remember who we really are as being made from and part of and an expression of cosmic love. So I hope you can join me. I'm going to do an activation 12 hours before the eclipse that happens. It's a partial eclipse, so it's not so intense, but it is very intense because of the other planetary aspects that are lining up. And so next Friday, August 10th, just keep that in mind. I'm going to be doing at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 2 p.m. on the West Coast, and that would be 5 p.m. on the East Coast. It's going to be a live activation. You can catch the replay. If you can't make the live activation, it's immediately available. So that way you can get in on the energy. There's that 12 hours leading up to this eclipse, and it's going to be very profound because we've had 3 eclipses in a row. And here, you know, that second eclipse was right at the midpoint of the Mars retrograde. And here we're having the second of 3 Mars square Uranus. So we're kind of like, we're right here in the middle of the old and the new, and whatever's trying to manifest for us. And so be open to the love, be open to the messages, and sit tight and know that like what's coming up for you right now is trying to set you free into your true essential self, and remembering that you are the cosmic love of the universe. So I look forward to seeing you on the activation or next time. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.